Hey, how you doing, Vic?
Good, great to see you.
Same here.
Um, Leslie, obviously the bye, you're working on a bunch of things. I'm assuming the run defense would be somewhere pretty high on that list based on what we've seen so far. So, assuming that, what kinds of things were you able to do in that area to address it during the course of this bye?
What we try to do, Vic, is go back and look at some of the runs that have hurt us and what we're doing versus those runs and how we can improve some of our techniques, some of our fundamentals against some of those runs that show up repeatedly. And I think our guys did a good job today when we were going through practice as we went through some of those runs that we evaluated during the bye week that really hurt us. And hopefully we'll be better against those runs going forward. And we'll hit them again throughout the week because, as you know, it's a copycat league. You know, people see something that hurts you, they put it in their offense. So we'll hit some of those things again this week.
And one more, to what degree, because I know it's got to be a collective thing, the concern about losing that game against Arizona the way it was lost, and obviously the pressure that I'm sure some guys and the defense as a whole and some in particular feel, your reinforcement of guys, if that happened, it's behind us, and we got to just focus on this next game. How conscious are you of that, and how do you deal with that?
Well, it's just what you just said. In our league, you have to be able to move on. Whether we have won that game or in this case, we didn't come away with the win, you have to be able to move on. 7 wins, 8 wins don't get you a whole lot in the National Football League. So for our guys, it's all about moving on from that game and put all our attention and focus, Vic, on the LA Chargers. And period. You know, whether we had won that game or not, you have to be able to move on and focus on this one opponent. And that's the National Football League.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Hey, Leslie, we talked a little bit about Dane Jackson last week, and I'm just wondering, for a guy that's come in and played as well as he's played, what's his path to a full-time role? Because ahead of him, when healthy, Levi Wallace has started a lot of games for you. Josh Norman, what he's done in this league, is it tough for him to carve out an every week role, or is there a path to it?
I think the more opportunities he gets to show what he's capable of doing, that's one of the ways you carve out a role for your lineup. And he's shown that the game is not too big for him. When he's had his opportunities, he's made some plays for us. So that warrants our being able to take a real hard look at where he is and how we can best utilize, some of his strengths and really minimize whatever we think some of those weaknesses are, because he's shown some strengths that really get you excited about his potential. That being said, Levi has done some good things for us this year as well. So you don't want to, push him aside because he's done some good things. Now, Josh has been in and out of the lineup. We haven't seen a whole lot of him because of, various things that have come up. But it's good to have a guy like Dane who is capable of stepping in and helping you out. And we'll just see how he progresses as time goes on.
Mm-hmm. I asked Sean a little bit about Justin Herbert, and, I've just been amazed. You watch him week to week and you see the highlights, but the way the efficiency of this Chargers offense, led by a rookie quarterback who, probably was the third guy being talked about going into the season. What do you see on tape, and what are the challenges going up against this offense?
Well, like you, I've been very, very impressed with what I've seen. Does not play like a rookie, and he's basically leading that offense. I mean, he's really the reason they're having so much success as an offense, and that's unusual this early in a rookie's career to really be the guy that shoulders the brunt of the success or failure of the offense. So his release, his accuracy, his mobility, he's a smart player. He just has a lot of good qualities and has a very good size as well. So a lot of positives, and we got to find a way to, affect them on Sunday.
Thanks, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Well, good afternoon, Leslie. Mark Gahn from the Buffalo News.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah, my question was the same as Matt's. So just to expand on Herbert, what do you think of the ability they're showing to, create downfield shots and Herbert's arm throwing downfield?
But his accuracy, Mark, throwing the football downfield has really been off the charts. I mean, those guys really don't break stride. They've hit a bunch of explosives, and their underneath work with Keenan Allen really stood out this past weekend against the Jets. But you're right, those shots they take down the field, he does a really, really good job of putting the ball where only his players can make the play on the football. So credit to his accuracy and his arm strength. He's done a heck of a job.
Thank you.
Hey, Leslie, speaking of Keenan Allen, what are some challenges that he presents? He had 16 catches, I think, this past weekend for a lot of yards. So I guess what can he do to a defense and how can you stop him?
But Matt, he's one of the best slot receivers in our game. He can make plays, but he really makes his money on the inside. And the performance that he had on Sunday was, really magical in a lot of ways. And it seems like their quarterback really targets him. He looks for him. And his numbers have gone up because of that. They've got a great rapport between the two of them. And we're going to have to find ways to slow him down. But he's one of the great slot receivers we have in our game.
Thanks, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Hi, Leslie. It's Kim Jones from NFL Network.
Hey, Kim.
After coming out of that game, do you worry about confidence at all? Cheerleader would not be the word I'm looking for, but do you have to kind of buoy the spirits at all of your very proud group?
Kim, what we tried to focus on is what I mentioned earlier, with Vic, just being able to focus on the charges and what we have to get done to win this ball game. That game is over with from a week ago. And if you're not able to move on from games, whether you win or lose in our league, you're not going to be successful over the long haul. You have to be able to let that game go, focus on the next opponent, and put all your energy and effort into that opponent. And we've got some guys who have confidence. They know who they are. They know what they're capable of doing. And I think we're mature enough, at least I believe we are. We've had enough conversations after the game that we can move on from that game and really walk on the field and practice with great confidence. And that's what it's going to take on Sunday. It's hard to go out on that field if you have any doubt and achieve what we have to get achieved. I mean, we've got so many positive things going for us right now. And that should really help our confidence, knowing where we sit and the opportunity that's in front of us. If that doesn't get you excited, and if that doesn't really get you confident about playing, there's so many teams would love to be where we are. Mm-hmm. So our confidence level should be extremely high, extremely high.
If I say that you believe in the football character of your group, and that is also one of the reasons you think they can move on, am I accurate with that characterization?
Very much so. I mean, they've shown great perseverance throughout the year, Kim. And, when something bad happens, being able to move on to the next play and line up and playing. So it's a high character group. And just watching how they've handled various situations throughout the year tells me we'll be able to move on from that ball game for sure.
I really appreciate you, Leslie, and I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you, Kim.
Hi, Leslie. Matt Fairburn here. Obviously, after an all-pro season and the big contract Tre'Davious got, a lot of expectations coming into the year. What have you noticed about how he's handled it? How do you feel that he's handled that part of it, kind of getting put on a different level with the
I think he's handled it really well around his teammates, Matt, and then watching him in the locker room, on the practice field. I think he's done a really good job in not letting the contract affect his play on the field. And really of late, he's playing his best football right at the right time. And I talked to him about this a few days ago, just really encouraged by the things I've been seeing over the last few weeks, looking more and more like the Tre'Davious we've been accustomed to. And that will help us as we get ready to enter this last week of November going into December. The way his performance has improved as the year has gone on. So to answer your question, I think he's handled the contract signing extremely well, and his teammates, they hold him in such high regard. And part of it is the way he's handled some of the success that has come his way.
In what areas have you seen him improve since the beginning of the year? What have you seen, I guess, Anything that stands out that made you think like, all right, he's back being who we want him to be?
Well, one of those areas is his tackling. His tackling has picked up a lot of guys struggled in our league coming out of the quasi training camp that we had from a tackling standpoint. And then when we put him in situations of late where he was locked down on a particular receiver, we've seen him shutting that guy down, and we just got to do it more. We've got to give him an opportunity to do it more. We haven't done it as much this season as we have in years past for different reasons, but he's begun to show that he's back to that level where if we want to follow a receiver, he's ready to get that done.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Hey, Leslie, John Worrell, the AP.
Hey, John. Hey,
I
John.
hope you had a good bye week off.
Yes, we did.
Good. Just what is it? What are the what makes the challenge of facing an Anthony Lynn offense unique? I'm sure you faced twice already with the Bills, but I'm sure you've done it before back to your previous years.
Well, they really want to, Anthony's offense, they usually want to run the football. That's where it starts at, for sure, being able to establish the run game. But the difference today and what we've seen previously is what's happening with the quarterback position. They've got a young quarterback who has really taken the reins of the offense, and everything kind of revolves around his strengths, which is passing the football, and he has some ability as well, being able to run his own read and do some other things with his feet. So it's a little bit different in that way. They don't hang their hat on the run game as much as they have in the past, but they're more than capable of running the football. But when you throw it 59 times like they did this past weekend, the run game becomes secondary in some ways. But in its essence, Anthony would like to be able to run the football. They've got a pretty special quarterback.
Well, and that's kind of where I was going with this, because you almost have to. Well, you probably wanted to throw away the tape of that 2018 game to begin with, or at least the first half. but do you? I mean, it just seems like such a different offense with Herbert there.
Well, and rightfully so. I mean, he was drafted pretty high for a reason, and he's having a ton of success. I mean, arguably playing at the level of Rookie of the Year. So it makes sense what they're doing. But John, we know that they're capable of running the football. We know that their head coach wants to run the football. So we got to come into it being able to stop the run and not allowing them to be a balanced offense. Because this quarterback, he's even a bigger threat if they're able to run the football.
Thank you very much, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, Coach Frazier. George Radney, Challenger Community News.
Hey, George.
I have a couple questions for you. One, and with a player like a Dane Jackson, that seems like you guys bring him up off the practice squad each week. I wonder, has the rules changed for this season only, where other teams can't pluck players off of your practice squad and put them on their active roster? Has that changed?
Yeah, things have changed in that regard, and part of it revolves around the COVID. So it's a lot tougher for teams to be able to pluck guys off of your practice squad than years past, and for good reason. This is not the year you want to be losing guys, because of the situation that we're in.
Okay, good. So he's pretty safe of keeping your guys, especially guys like Dane that are looking really good right now.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have Dane, and we want to make sure that we keep him right here in Buffalo for sure.
Beautiful. And my last question for you, they're putting pressure on these young quarterbacks. Let's see, yesterday, Denver defense, they came from all angles, and Tua couldn't figure out where they were coming from. Do you think that may be a precursor for these young quarterbacks to go after them with the blitz packages?
Yeah, for some young quarterbacks, for sure, and others, there are some other guys that really respond well to pressure. So you got to figure out which one that guy is that you're facing. Is he one of those that responds extremely well to pressure, or does pressure really force him into mistakes? And that's what you got to determine.
All righty. And I just thought one last one with Tre'Davious White. Does he seem like the type of guy that seems like the guys that come on later in the season? You know, certain veteran guys seem to start off slow each year, but when you get to the second half of the season, especially November, December, he seems to turn it on.
For us, Tre'Davious has been pretty consistent throughout. Each year that we've had him, he's played at a high level throughout the season. It just so happened for everybody this year was a little bit different with the start and how things began. And you're seeing more and more players that are really coming into their form this time of the year, and he's no different. You can really see, going to another level right now. But I think it's more, George, because of the way the year started without a training camp, a true training camp.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you very much, and good luck this coming week.
Thank you.
All right, Leslie, that's all we got. Thank you.
All right.